Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Topic 5: Analyze and solve system of linear equations. Our first lesson, it's about estimate solutions by inspection. So what is our main objective? Our main objective is to find the number of solutions of a system of equations by inspecting the equations. That means we are not going to solve the equations, we are not going to draw them or plot them on the graph paper. Simply by looking at those equations, we have to decide, does it have one solution? Does this system have one solution, many solutions, or no solutions? So before I start the lesson, quickly let's see what is a linear equation. So a linear equation with one variable, it looks like this. It means that the highest power for the variable is always 1. And if you draw such an equation on the graph paper, it will give you a straight line. Okay, a linear equation contains variables that have an exponent are raised to a power that is no higher than 1. So when we will be talking about the system of the linear equations, in that case we will have two equations, and we will check that these two equations, if you observe or if you inspect these two equations, what will be the solution? Will there be only one solution, or there will be more solutions, or there will be no solution for both these equations? Okay, obviously because we are talking about the equation, so they will have an equality sign. Now what is the difference between this linear equation and these two linear equations? This linear equation is with one variable, and remember, in the linear equations the highest power of the variable will be 1. Okay, and if you plot these on the graph paper, it will give you a straight line. And right now we will be talking about a system of linear equations, and each equation will have two variables. Mostly it will be x and y, or maybe it can be m or n, a or b. Any letter could be used for the variables, but the power of the variables will always be 1. Okay, so let's discuss first of all what is the standard form of or you can say when we write a linear equation in the slope-intercept form, how does it look like? So when we say slope-intercept form, that means y equals mx plus b. This is the standard form of the linear equation in slope-intercept form. Like y has to be on its own, and all the rest of the terms, they have to be on the other side of the equation. This is called gradient, or it is called slope of the line. And how do we find it? Because the lesson, it's not about finding how this slope will help us to draw the lines on the graph paper. Only right now you have to consider that this number or the coefficient of x is called slope. The constant number, it is called the y-intercept. Clear? So remember, whenever we will be deciding about the solutions of the system of linear equations, we will change each equation into standard form. And how we will write the standard form? Like y has to be on its own, and the rest of the terms with the x term and the constant term, they will be on the other side of the equation. We have some more questions to discuss. Here they said, how can slopes and y-intercepts related to the number of solutions of the system of linear equation? This is the question that always you will be asking yourself, that how the slope and the y-intercept can help me to decide about the solutions of the system of equations. And also this question, how can you use the graph to determine the number of solutions of each system? A system of linear equations is formed by two or more linear equations that use the same variables. The solution of the system of linear equations is any ordered pair that makes all the equations true. Right now we are not going to find this ordered pair, only we have to decide that does this system have only one solution, many solutions, or no solution. So we will discuss all these three cases one by one. If you look at the question that I have been given two equations. In this system, the first equation says y equals x plus 4, and the second equation, it says y equals negative x plus 6. We are not going to plot these, but anyhow you can see in this diagram that they have plotted both these lines on the graph paper, and it is giving us two straight lines, and both the straight lines or both these lines, they are intersecting each other at this point. So they are meeting, or you can say they are intersecting at one point. So this point is the solution of this of both these equations. Okay, what are the coordinates of this point? It's 1 and 5. So the x value is 1 and the y value is 5. That means 1 and 5, these are the two coordinates that will satisfy both these equations. Clear? Okay, now how I will know that this system has only one unique solution? Means there is no other solution, there are not many solutions, there is only one possible solution for this one. How I will know? I will check the slopes of both the lines. So if you look at the first equation, y equals x plus 4, what is the slope of this line? The number that or you can say the coefficient of this variable x, it gives us the slope. So what is the slope, or what is the value of m? In this case it's 1. When you look at the second equation, it says y equals negative x plus 6. So it means the coefficient of x here is negative 1. So the value of m is negative 1. Whenever we have different slopes of the equations, it means that system will have a unique solution. Clear? There will be only one possible solution for such situation. So if you have different slopes, there is only one solution. So first you will change whenever they will give you a question, what will you do? You will change the question into standard form. Then you will check what is the slope of each line. So for each line you will find what is the slope. Then you will compare the slopes. If the slopes are exactly the same, then we will have different cases. I will discuss them on the next slides. But if the slope is different, that means there will be a unique single solution for this system of equations. Let's discuss the other cases now. Now if you look at the question that I have been given here, it says y equals x plus 3. What is the value of the slope here? It's m equals 1, right? Now look at the second equation, y equals x plus 1. What is the value of the slope here? Or you can say what is the coefficient of x here? It's 1. Now if you have the same values of slopes for both the equations, that means if you plot such equations on the graph paper, the lines and by the way the y-intercept, so the y-intercept is different but the slopes are same. If you plot such equations, or if you draw such equations on the graph paper, you will get two parallel straight lines. And as you know that the parallel lines, they never intersect each other. That means there is no solution for such a system of equations. So how will you know that there is no solution? This is the case of no solution. You will arrange, or you will write the equations in the standard form, both the equations in the standard form. After that, find the slope of the first equation, find the slope of the second equation, and also check the y-intercepts. So if the slopes are similar but the y-intercepts are different, that means you will have two parallel lines on the graph paper. By the way, we do not have to draw them on the graph paper in this lesson. Only I'm trying to explain you that what happens, why there is no solution for such a case. Because if you draw such lines on the graph paper, they will remain parallel to each other and there will be no common point. There will be no intersecting point. So that's why we have this system has no solution. Now the third case, if you look at the first equation, it's not in the standard form. If you look at the second equation, it's not in the standard form. So remember, always our first step is to change each equation into standard form. How can I change this one into standard form? I will move this x to the other side. So because always I have to write the x value first, this x will change into negative x. So it will be y equals negative x, and minus 2. So this is the standard form for the first equation. Now if you look at this one, I can say what is the value of the slope here. So the value of the slope in this case is m equals -1. Now let's check the second equation. So how can we change the second equation into standard form? First I will move this 3x to the other side, so it will become y equals -3x, and then we have -3, this is 3y. Okay, still y is not on its own, I have this 3 extra with it, so I will divide each term by 3 to get the standard form. So this 3 will cancel this 3, and I'll be left with y equals, now -3 divided by 3 will be -1x, and here 6 divided by 3 will be 2. Okay, what is the slope now? Write your second equation in the standard form over here. So it's -1x minus 2. Now what is the value of the slope in this case? It's -1. And what is the y-intercept? Now look at the y-intercept. The y-intercept is also the same. So this is the situation if you plot these two lines, because both the lines are exactly the same, have the same equations. The slope and the y-intercept exactly the same. So if you will plot both the lines, they will be plotted at the same points, and they will have millions and hundreds of points in common. So it means both these lines, they will be overlapping each other. So that's why we say this system has infinitely many solutions. So quickly, if I repeat the steps for you, the first step is always you have to write each equation in the standard form. The second step is to check the slope. If the slope is, okay, let me write it over here for you. Okay, look at this here, all the summary is written here. So if you have the same slopes, we have two cases. They have the same intercept or y-intercept, or the different y-intercept. So if they have different y-intercept, in that case the lines will become parallel and there will be no solution. If they have the same slopes but the y-intercepts are also same, in that case we say they have infinitely many solutions, or you can say they have many solutions, because the lines will become overlapping. And this is the only case when the slopes are different, we have just one unique solution. This is the summary of the whole lesson. Okay, what are the steps that you have to follow? Step number 1, write each equation in the standard form. Step number 2, check the slope. After checking the slope, you have to check the y-intercept. By the way, if the slopes will be different, then there is no need to check the y-intercept. Directly you can say that there is only one solution. So let's discuss now some questions from the lesson now. So here I have taken question number 7 from the book. So if you look, we have been given two equations. This is the first one and this is the second one. They are saying two rovers are exploring a planet. The system of equations below shows each rover elevation y and the time x. What is the conclusion? What conclusion can you reach about the system of equations? And they have given you some questions over here. Now better pause the video here. The equation that is not in the standard form for this rover B, change it into standard form, compare the two equations and try to answer these questions. Then play the video to check your answer. So here are the answers. The first equation is already in the standard form, and if I look at the slope, it's 1.9, and if I look at the y-intercept, it's -8. Then for the second equation, it was not in the standard form. I divided each term by 7 and I got this equation. Now in this equation, what is the value of m, the slope, and what is the value of the y-intercept? It's the same like the first one. So we can say the slope of the rover A equation is equal to the slope of the rover B equation. The y-intercept of both the equations are equal. It's -8 and -8. So that's why the system will have, what do you think? It will have one solution, no solution, or many solutions. So when both the y-intercept and the slopes are exactly the same, this is the case of the overlapping lines. That means there are many solutions. Clear? I'll show you some more questions now. Better pause the video here, change each equation if it is not in the standard form, and try to solve these questions on your own, and then play the video to check your answers. So here is the solution for question number 6 and question number 8. If you look at question number 6, I changed the first equation into standard form over here. So just keep it in your mind, when you the first thing always you have to do is to change it into standard form to know what is the value of m, or you can say slope, and what is the value of the y-intercept. I divided here, first I moved this 6x to the other side, it changed into negative 6x, right? And then I divided all the terms by 3, so to get rid of this 3. So finally the equation was becoming y equals negative 2x plus 4, and the value of m here is negative 2, and the value of y-intercept is 4. This is, please remember, this is y-intercept. Okay, now look at the second equation. So first I moved this 8x to the other side, it changed into negative 8x, and the rest of the things are over there. Then I divided the whole equation by 4, and this 4 was cancelled with this 4, so I got y equals negative 8 divided by 4, it will be negative 2x. 16 divided by 4 will be positive 4. So the value of m here is negative 2, and the value of the y-intercept is positive 4. When I compare both the equations, please just write the final answers, or you can say the final standard form equations in these boxes, so easily you can compare them, right? Okay, so I can see that exactly the value of m and the y-intercepts are the same. That's why I will say the answer, it has infinitely many solutions, because the lines will become overlapping lines. Hope it's clear for you. Okay, now look at the question number 8. The first equation is already in the standard form. Simply I wrote 1 over here with the x to know what is the value of the slope, and this is the value of the y-intercept. The y-intercept is negative 3, and the value of the slope is 1 here. When I look at the second equation, so first I move this positive 4x to the other side, so it became negative 4x plus 6, and the coefficient of y was negative 10, so I divided the whole equation by negative 10. Here negative 10 will cancel negative 10, and I will be left with y here. When I look at the second one, here negative 4 divided by negative 10, so the negative sign will cancel negative sign, or simply we can say negative and negative will change into positive, and 4 and 10, it could be simplified with the multiplication table of 2, so I got 2 out of 5x. 6 out of positive 6 over negative 10, so positive and negative will become negative, and 6 and 10 could be simplified with the multiplication table of 2, so 2 will cancel this 6 to give me 3, and 2 will cancel this 10 to give me 5. Now the y-intercept is becoming 2 out of 5, and the slope is becoming 2 out of 5, and the y-intercept is negative 3 out of 5. When I compare both the slopes were different, so no need to look at the y-intercept. I will say these are the two intersecting lines, they have one common point, and that point will be the solution of these equations. So we have one unique solution. Clear? Let's solve one more question from the exercise, from the lesson. It's question number 15. By the way, it's very simple, because already they have given you the equations. Just you have to compare the equations and answer these questions. So better pause the video here, try to answer the questions on your own, and then play the video to check your answers. The equations are already in the standard form, so you do not have to work a lot. So here are the answers for both the equations. So if you look at the equations, they have different slopes. That means they have a unique solution. The question was, what does the y-intercept show? So the y-intercept, it shows for both the plants the height of each plant when they were planted, and like what was the height of these plants in the beginning. So if let's say if they are measuring it in inches, or let's say they are measuring it in inches. That means in the beginning both the plants were 2 inches high. Okay, then the question was, will the flowers ever be the same height? Yes, the flowers had the same height when they were planted because it was 2 and 2. So let's see, what do we have more to solve? Question number 16 and 18, same idea. They just want you to determine, or does the system have one solution, no solution, or an infinite number of solutions? Okay, by inspecting the equations, what can you determine about the solutions of this system? So the same idea, I want you to pause the video here and solve both the questions on your own. So here are the answers for both questions, question number 16 and 18. I changed them into standard forms, and then I compared the, you can say, then I compared the slopes. Here the slopes were exactly the same, and the y-intercept was different. That's why the lines are going to be parallel, so there is no solution. In question number 18, it's exactly the same, both equations, so we will say it's infinitely many solutions. Let's solve some word problems now. So here's an example. First let's solve the example, and then we will solve a question from the lesson. Now it says Corey and Winnie each bought X pounds of cheddar cheese and Y pounds of tomatoes. Corey spent $12 at the supermarket. Winnie spent $24 at the farmer's market. Could they have bought the same amount of the weight by cheddar cheese and tomatoes? Okay, first, how will you make the equations? So remember, they are talking about the tomatoes, and what is the letter or the variable that is representing the tomatoes? It's Y. And when we talk about the cheddar cheese, what is the variable that is representing it? It's X. So look at this. Here, if you talk about the farmer's market, so Winnie spent $24 at the farmer's market. So how will you make the equation now? So you can make 4y plus 12x. So we can say 4y plus 12x equals, how much is the amount that is spent at the farmer's market? It's 24. Right now, look at the second one. Here the tomatoes are have the variable y, and the cheddar cheese has the variable x. So how can we make the equation? Because this one says each pound, that's why we are multiplying this number with the y and this number with the x. So it will become 2y plus 6x equals, now how much was spent, total spent on the supermarket? It was $12 at the supermarket. So these are the two equations. After getting the equations, they are asking you this question, that could they have bought the same amount by weight of cheddar cheese and tomatoes? So we have to check it first. You will change it into standard form, decide whether it will have one solution, no solution, or many solutions. First solve it and then play the video. I will explain you in detail in the end. So here is the answer. We can notice that both the equations are becoming exactly the same. They have the same slope and same y-intercept. So there will be infinitely many solutions, means this shows we can generalize it like both of them, they bought the same amount of cheese and tomatoes. So let's solve one question now from the lesson. It says Kyle has X 3 ounce blue marbles and 5 ounce green marbles. Lara has X 5 ounce green marbles and 3 ounce blue marbles. Is it possible for Kyle and Lara to have the same number of green marbles and the same total bag weight? So better pause the video here, solve it on your own, and then play the video to check your answer. So here's the answer for question number 4. How will you make the equations for Kyle and Lara? Because she has 3x blue marbles, and with that she has 5 green marbles, and Lara, she has 5x green marbles, and then she has 3 blue marbles. Okay, so these are the two equations. From here we can clearly see that both the equations have different slopes. That's why we will have one solution. That means that if we have one solution, so there is a point of intersection between the two lines, and this point will give us the x and the y coordinates. And if we substitute those x and the y coordinates in these equations, there will be a situation when they will have the same number. That will be the situation where we will get the x value and the y value, where they will have the same number of green marbles and same total bag. That's all for this lesson. I try to explain all the questions. Hope you understand the lesson and the idea.